You can see here, this class has the strings that I just created on the XML file. That's why this R class is a special. The IDE automatically builds that for you and adds whatever you need. We're not going to change that on the code. We're going to change just here. So let's just press Ctrl space. Hello class. Let's change this. And now we can see hello class here. Are we going to change that to, I don't know, smiley face? Yay. And updates automatically here on the site, right? So let's see that working on our emulator. So I'm stopping the application and then I'm running again. What that does is that's opens the emulator with the new version of the application. And as you can see, we have now reload class and a button here. So some ideas that I saw on applications out there for smartwatches are usually they work like an extension of your smartphone. So a really common feature is to use those buttons to control your smartphone. Let's say, yeah, here they have an idea of an application to emergency situation, but it's not actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the smartwatch dial. Receiving calls, receive calls. Yeah, so something like this. That's what I mean, like an extension of your phone. Like you can actually control your phone using the Android OS. They do that by Bluetooth, so you actually can code this here. And let's say you can have a button to answer a call, close a call. Another feature that's really common for fitness app is just like pause music, continue music, things like that. And that's pretty much how you do it. This one is actually fancy, they even have a camera thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's a simple example. And that's why we're talking about pair a phone with the watch on the 83. Unfortunately, I don't have the cable here and it's not a smartwatch to show you guys. So we are going to just talk about the code. And the way we do it is we need to enable developer options on your phone. And the way you do it, this would be actually closer to the jailbreak that you're talking about. Let me show a video about that. So the way you do it is you go, here we have the instructions. You go on the settings, and then you enable developer options, and enable USB debugging. However, that option doesn't actually show by default. You need to do a little trick there, and I'll show with this video. Like on an Android device, you just go on your settings, go to about your phone, look for the software information, and the build number, okay? In that, you click several times. From what I remember, it's 7, and they even show a toaster there. That's the name of this alert that's showing saying. And then once you click 7 times, you turn that on. Okay? So now you have developer options. And with that developer options, you can enable debugging. So that's probably what this guy is going to do. Yeah. They have a few things like logs. There are a bunch of options, as you can see. Hopefully this guy goes to the Bluetooth one. Oh yeah, and you can disable that as well, so it doesn't show anymore if you want. This guy didn't go to the option of USB debugging, but it's fine. Just be aware that you need to do that trick to enable the developer options, and then you go to USB debugging. The reason why that's so complicated and not enabled by default is because back in the day, I don't know if you guys use flash drives, but it was really common to make wires for those flash drives. And because our phones connect to the computer, and they are kind of susceptible to that kind of environment, so you have the risk of having your smartphone controlled by someone that actually knows, or a computer that runs certain types of commands, like these ones. They could try to control your smartphone. So in order to avoid that, for security reasons, it's really hard for a user to enable the developer options. And you need to do all this setup, okay? Back in the day, I don't know if they still do it. Some people in the last class, they said they do it. They actually have Easter eggs associated with that. Let's see if I can find that on YouTube. I found a video that was a really good one. I'm not finding that one in particular, but I'll show this one. This one shows the example. Oh, actually it's here. Okay, that's good. So back in the day when you were pressing those 7 buttons, you would actually see screens like this, like the zombie Android, or the honeycomb. They have a bee and stuff like that. They started to become really creative over time. But if you, in your phone, I don't know the version of Android that you use, but if in your phone you see this weird stuff, don't panic, you're fine. As soon as these crazy animations stop, you'll still be able to see the developer options when you click on configurations, okay? So I'm showing these just for knowledge. If that happens to you, yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just a Google funny way of doing things. Okay? Yeah, so that's how you enable that. And once that's enabled, you can run some commands. So this is how you enable your application to access your phone. So here is an emulator, and this is actually how you connect your phone to that Android Wear OS emulator. Okay. What else? Sometimes, and it's not just for Android. This is some feature from Gradle. If we go on the Gradle here, again, show this. Here, they have some configurations regarding Android, but some stuff they are generic. Like here, we have certain dependencies that's telling to Gradle to download this package. And sometimes you don't want to download from the standard repositories, you want to download from different ones. So here we have an example of other repositories that you might want to configure. And here you could have, I don't know, something that's internally for your company, okay? So just be aware that this exists. We're not going to change anything there because this is just a demo app of how to run, but just be aware. And there is a warning here, and even shows on the interface here when I call that view. You can see that no longer receiving updates. So this JCenter, I would say that's not recommended to use. Just be aware that you have this option of adding custom repositories to download this kind of packages here. So, yeah, so an example that you could see in real life is you have your own library, like the ones that we downloaded using Python and stuff. You could actually download something here on a custom repository, okay? What is next? So here is the 7x theme. And the same thing works on smartwatches. You go on the system, about, and tap the build number 7 times. What else? And here we're talking about the companion app. Like, it's like I was talking before, the Android OS, the Wear OS, it can work like an extension of your phone. So if you might want to build applications that control other applications, like the example of receiving calls, or the Spotify or anything like that. If you decide to do that, you might need to run this kind of configuration with pair your phone to the watch. We saw the command before. And that's pretty much it, because the rest I talked already, like the dependencies. Yeah, this one is important. So they on the smartwatch, different from the smartphones, they usually have a worse CPU, and they have a huge concern about the battery life. So in your app, you might be worried about if your application is running on ambient or interactive. This interactive is more fluid, how the animations work, and they're responsive. This ambient is more like a black and white graphics, so they are more battery friendly, let's put it this way. So be aware that your app might run in those different kind of environments, okay? So a good practice is to have in the code somewhere a check which version you're running on, and then do the fancy stuff on the smartwatch that has that capability to support that, and do less intensive CPU related graphics on the not so good ones. Okay, that's a strategy to save better. What else? Yeah, this is just more setup. Do you have any questions so far from what we discussed about how to create an Android? Everybody managed to run?
Yeah.
I'm listening, but I'm not.
Okay. No, that's fine. If you are able to do it by yourself, I don't mind. But yeah, just let you guys know that I'm open to help here. Anyway, let's go to the next part then.
So before you go to the next one, I just want to ask, is our assignment for this week, is it just a screenshot for we successfully run the things? Is alright?
Yes. more than everything else. We don't need to worry about for the assignment because we don't actually have a smartwatch, so I can't really show that, and I don't expect you guys to have. So we're just going to talk about the commands and the concepts around them. Okay? Okay, so now we are going to talk about how to debug on this environment. There are a few ways to debug. One we talked already, like using the cables, connecting, and be happy. But for Wear OS, we actually have a few more options. And one option is run debug over Wi-Fi. That is actually that. If you are in the same network of your machine, you can try that out. How that works is they make like a web server on your device, either your phone or the smartwatch, and then you can connect that by an IP, like this one. This is the IP of your local network, so you know people don't hack you anywhere, and you have some layer of security. Something that I'd like to talk about this is if you keep this enabled and you connect to a public network like a Starbucks or something, you actually are exposing yourself to the risk of somebody hacking you, because it's a web server, so anyone that has access to the IP might be able to hack that device. I would strongly suggest is if you decide to go with this kind of option, is to disable that as soon as you finish the work, or do that only on the device of your work. But even if you do on the device of your work, just don't do that on public networks. That's just not safe at all. Yeah, so just be aware of that, and that's why enabling the developer options, like it's explained here again, is so complicated. Like you have to go there and tap an specific text to actually enable that option. We don't want users to expose themselves like this. Okay? And how do we actually connect? So we run the ADB again, the Android debugger command. We do a connect, and it shows connected here. So we can run the debug there. There is another option as well, another alternative, is run that through Bluetooth. If you have a device that supports Bluetooth and have the Android Studio and the ADB, you can actually do that. And the way you do it is you create this forward connection here. If you ever worked with Docker before, this is like it's literally what I said, a forward connection that you, instead of having certain host and a port, you use something else. So in this case here, I'm connecting to the local host to this local abstract ADB hub, which could be another way to connect to the Bluetooth. So you're basically forwarding a Bluetooth connection to the web connection on your local machine. Okay. So that's a way to do it. These are some examples. And if they work, you should see something like this: host connected, target connected. And then you run commands on the machine, like it's showing here. And another way of debugging and test that out, if you see here, we have an option of recording screen. That's the way Google tests their apps, because they have farms of smartphones, like frames of smartphones, and then they deploy an application and test that out. On each smartphone, they record the video, and then they check the video if the interface is good. They use some sort of AI to check that, or even a human. If you work with front-end development, you might recognize this approach for testing, because some testing frameworks for front-end, they take print screens of your web page, so you can check if the styling is wrong or is good for certain resolutions. Okay? And the way you do it on Android and Wear OS is pretty much the same. You just run the same command, adb screen record, shell screen record, and we run some commands, and then we get the file with the command book here. Okay? So that's how it works. Yeah. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Do we have any questions about how debugging works on Android or any